Welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm Ellis, and today I'm doing a preview for Everton versus Nottingham Forest at Goodison Park on Sunday. Happy Christmas, Blues. Hope you've had a fantastic Christmas. Hopefully Everton can make it even better with a nice win straight after Christmas at Goodison. It's that time of year where you have no idea what day it is. You just seem to be enjoying all the leftovers, having whatever you like, and then another football game comes round, and then another football game comes round, and there just seems to be so much footy, so much sport on. It's a great time of year, and at the moment, Everton are making sure that it's a decent time of year as well, thanks to these fantastic draws that we've had lately. But let's get straight into the preview for this one. I think, in terms of the team, can't be expecting a lot of changes, really. He's got Ashley Young back at his disposal now, so maybe he'll put him back in. I don't know if Seamus can play another game straight through, and obviously he did go off slightly injured in the last game, but I don't know whether he'd play again. I don't think he'd play another 90, but Ashley Young can happily drop back in. Nathan Patterson did come on as a sub against Manchester City, and maybe, just maybe, you could start seeing him get more minutes. We know that's not going to happen, but I think it'll be Ashley Young, so there's no real debate there. I think the biggest debate in this game is Armando Broja. He's got to start. He has to start. The way that he played against Wolves when he came on, the shift that he did at Arsenal and against Manchester City was just fantastic. He does more in 10 minutes than Dominic Calvert-Lewin has been doing in entire games lately. Armando Broja has to start. He's agile, he's skillful, he's massive, but he's quick. It's a striker that we've not really had that kind of profile in a while, and I'm not bigging him up yet because we know what happens. We know we don't want to get ahead of ourselves too early, but this lad does look like the right kind of striker profile for us. So for me, it's get him in that team now, because Dominic Calvert-Lewin's still not signed his contract. We're going into January, which is the point where he can then sign pre-contracts with other clubs, and his head must just still be elsewhere. And while I thought he did okay against Man City in the second half, overall the performance just wasn't really there. So Broja's in for me. Other than that, I imagine they'll keep the team the same. Decore has done a decent few shifts lately. I still want to see Ndiaye in the 10, but I just don't think you're going to get that really at the moment. I don't think he trusts him to do that defensive work, which I don't know why, because I feel like Ndiaye does some of the best defensive work out of the whole team, and if you're worried about him giving the ball away because he's a risk-taking attacker, I don't think you've got that worry really anyway, because Iliman Ndiaye doesn't lose the ball. He picks it up, he looks after it, and he moves it on, and he dribbles with it, and he's brave, but he's also very clever at protecting the ball. So eventually I'd like to see Ndiaye in the 10, but it doesn't seem like it's going to happen for now, so we'll park that one, as Sean Dyche says. But it's at Goodison. It's a festive fixture, and it's the last Christmas-type fixture we're ever going to get at Goodison Park, so I feel like the fans are going to be up for it. The form's kind of took a bit of an upturn lately. I'm very cautious in saying this because you can look at it two different ways. We've won one game in 9, but we've also lost 2 games in 13. And for me, the standards need to be higher. We have to be winning more games of football. I don't think we should be celebrating the fact that we've lost 2 games in 13. I just think it's a negative outlook, really. But granted, they've done very well in these big games against Arsenal, Chelsea and Manchester City to not lose any of them and to put in really resolute defensive performances. So we've got that part of our game pretty much nailed now, but it's just like Dyche says, we have to get that balance right. And I thought against Manchester City it was closer to being right. I don't know if that's because City were poor, or maybe we just did kind of take the reins off a little bit more, but we had a bit more attacking threat, didn't we, in that game? Whereas you look back at the Arsenal game, for example, it's like we didn't even try and score that day. But I think there was a little bit more in that City match, but it summed up Everton's attacking way of playing and inability at the moment. That 4-on-2 at the end, it's going to haunt me. It's going to haunt me forever. If this happens in the Forest game, they better take it better, because, oh my God, when Armando Broja was running through, you got Harrison there on the side. When it goes to Harrison, it all goes wrong, doesn't it? It really sums up our counter-attacking abilities, I think, doesn't it? So none of that on Sunday against Forest, but we can take positives from these games, but we now need to show whether we have progressed as a team or whether these were just games that suited Sean Dyche's Everton a bit more. That's something that kind of plays on my mind with it at the moment. Yes, we're picking up points against good sides, but is it because that's the way that we do well? When we sit back, we're expected to just go for a draw, and we can just go for a draw because that seems like what Sean Dyche wants, really, isn't it? Even Seamus Coleman said himself, we came here for a point against Manchester City, which I don't like that mindset. I get why they said it, but I'm more of a fan of trying to win the game. And I saw a brilliant tweet that I think sums up the way that Sean Dyche's Everton is at the minute. I feel like Sean Dyche goes for the point and will... if the other team decide that they're going to let them win this time, they'll let them win. So Sean Dyche goes for his point, and if the other team are bad enough to let us score an extra goal, we might just win it. It seems like Sean Dyche doesn't want to win a game if he feels he doesn't deserve it. So in this City game, he's like, we didn't win it because it would have been harsh on City if we'd have won it. So it seems like he doesn't quite ever push for a win, which that's frustrating, isn't it, for us Blues? And this Forest game is going to look very different to the previous three games. Yes, they're flying, but they aren't a team who are going to have all the ball. I think Forest are going to come to Goodison and sit a bit tighter and probably cause a lot of trouble for us, really. I think the fact that they'll be absorbing a bit more pressure from us and just sitting in and breaking, I think that's going to work very negatively against us. So it'll be interesting to see how we manage to deal with that in this game, because Forest are flying. The third in the Premier League, and we're nearly into the new year. It's absolutely ridiculous what's going on there. But this game, I think, doesn't suit us quite as much as the others do. And there's some real danger in their attacking players. Of course, Anthony Elanga's flying at the moment. Callum Hudson-Odoi's doing well. You got Chris Wood too, banging the goals in. No one can deny that he's doing really well and proving to be a very good Premier League striker, to be fair to him. So there's a lot to worry about in that sense. And I know that if we are going to probably be given the ball, because Forest know they can give us the ball, I feel like that's probably how the game's going to go. And I just look at their side, and to think that we finished above them last year, I don't know how, because the team they've got now, you look at Murillo and Milenkovic, the defenders, two absolute monsters to defend against, to attack against, and you've got to be way more aggressive as a striker than Dominic Calvert-Lewin's being if you want to beat Murillo and Milenkovic. You absolutely have to be. That's why I'd be starting with Brozier, by the way. So I can't see how this game works for us unless we change the way that we play. We have to start being able to win games at home, because yes, it's all well and good getting an average of a point a game and finishing on 38 points, but you've got no room for error then, have you? You've got to draw every game if you want to get 38 points. We have to start winning games at home. And while everyone looks to the home fixtures to think now's the time to go and get a win, we don't seem to do it, do we? We haven't lost much at home since August. I don't think we've lost at all, actually, since August at home, but we just haven't been winning games, have we? So that has to turn at some point. I'm not saying it has to be in this Forest game, because they are third in the league, they are flying, but we need to start finding ways of winning games that isn't just sitting back, hoping for the best, seeing if you can nick one. Because as we've seen, that works against the biggest sides, but the minute you play the teams that you need to win against, it just doesn't work at all. And I think there's a lot of players in this Forest team that we need to worry about quite a lot, really. They've got, obviously, the attack that's flying at the moment, and if we leave gaps, they will absolutely ruin us. So it's up to Dyche now to prove, has he got another way? I can hear you all already saying he's not, because he hasn't, has he? We know he's not got another way. But it's up to them players as well to find a way at home to win some games and give us some final year at Goodison Park cheer, isn't it? That's what we need. We need a few wins at home, because this month has been better than expected. Absolutely it has. But it would be a much better outlook on it if we actually win one, because you have to win games in the Premier League. If you want to stay up, you've got to win games. And at the moment, I look at the league table and it seems like we're a bit stuck, doesn't it, at the moment? You know, when you're in a good run of winning games, you can see where you're going to move up to if you win. I feel like for the last two or three games, you've looked and gone, if we win, we don't even move a place here. So I feel like we need a couple of wins to get into that pack above us. I know that if we win this game, we'll be 2 points off United, level on games, until they then play, and we still have that derby game in hand. If you can just bring yourself into that next pack, away from the relegation spots, you can then start to actually overtake teams when you win, whereas at the minute we seem to be winning and just staying in our own little league on our own. And the pressure's on now. The pressure's on to start winning games because the fixtures keep coming and teams around us are picking up points as well. Look at Wolves now. Wolves are winning games. Vitor Pereira, of all people, has got them winning. Ipswich still just seem to keep ticking over. So you can't be complacent and you can't feel like you're going to progress in this league by drawing every game. So let's go out and get a win against Forest and look to a new year, which is going to be hopefully 10 times better than 2024 for Everton, because wow, 2024 has been a rough one, hasn't it, Blues? But let's go into a prediction for this one. I'm going to go with... See, I don't know what the mindset's got to be this time, because I think I've backed us to win, lose and draw recently, and we've not won really any of them, have we? So I'm going to go with a 2-2 here. It's going to be a bit of a frantic game because we're going to have to come at them and they're going to hit us on the break a few times. I'll go with 2-2, and that will close out 2024 for Everton Football Club. A turbulent year, a horrible year, a difficult year, but it's 2025 and it couldn't look more promising, could it, Blues? We'll stick with that. It couldn't look more promising. New stadium, new owners, chance for a reset in summer, potentially a new manager as well, probably a new manager. There's hope now, Blues. There's hope, and hopefully we can end the year in style by beating Forest and just start fresh and forget it all. Well, that is all for your preview today. I do hope you've enjoyed. Let me know in the comments what you think. What are your goals for Everton in 2025? And how do you think this game's going to go? Are we going to close out a December, a very good December in terms of results, with that win that we need? Thanks for watching. See you later.